Alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Dear viewers, welcome back to the show Deen and Dunya. This is a program where we talk about interesting issues around us. These are issues that sometimes our imams, our parents, and even the youth find it uncomfortable to talk about it. So we try to bring them onto the table and find solutions. Today, I have for you a very interesting topic, which is, who do we look up to? My name is Rahma Mustafa Ghani, and I have with me in the studio a special guest, Engineer Jibril Ibrahim, who is the founder of iMedia TV. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Then I have my co-host, Habiba Adamu Abdullahi. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Okay, if we hear the question, who do we look up to? I think nowadays people actually focus on entertainment, media, and sometimes even fictional characters, fictional people in books and all that. You'll hear kids saying, I would like to be maybe like Iron Man, Batman, all the superheroes. But what people don't understand is there is difference between having role models and mentors. I like to say that role models are those people that would like to be like, or would try to emulate them, or would try to imitate what they're doing. While mentors are some people that would actually try to help you identify your real potentials, identify your capabilities and your abilities. So we need to differentiate between these two. So nowadays, we find youth saying it's very difficult to find mentors. Well, it can be okay to find role models because it might be somebody that you've never seen, but then you want to be like them. But mentors, they'll be like, normally they see people on the internet and perhaps send them messages that, please, I'd like you to be my mentor, but then they do not get the proper response, or sometimes they snub them. And so some kids were saying most of them would like motivation or somebody that would be able to push them to do something. So I don't know why people are really reserved about being people's mentors, because I know social media is something that you should be careful about people that you talk to, but how do we make it simple for the youth to have mentors?
Really, I think it's an interesting situation we are in, and to a large extent, I think there is a big transition going on socially and everything, from an age that was a lot more physical, a lot more hardworking. As per physical hardworking, go to school, study very hard, and walk through your career, to an age these days where people generally see people making a lot of money and flaunting it, so they want a faster way to get to the top. So when somebody that is looking for a very fast way is looking for a mentor in somebody that grew up through a slow, structured society, so very quickly the person might get a feeling that, is this guy, are you sure this guy would, are you ready? You know, so there is an atmosphere from, maybe if somebody messages me and it's like, I want you to mentor me and everything, and I go to his social media, I see it's already like, you know, high speed way. So I can't really imagine how to carry, how do I connect with this guy? How do I tell him that there's a difference between making a quick money and making a sustainable career, or making sustainable impact, you know, and he will understand. And then some of what he will even be saying, I might not even be able to fully relate with what he's saying. So it might create a little bit of a
But don't you think there are the genuine ones that would really want to learn something the right way? So how about those people? How do we help them?
No, you see, there is one thing is the problem on ground, but as adults, so to say, as mentors, we must realize that we don't have a choice but to work with the younger ones. There's no choice. We don't have a choice for the betterment of the whole society. So, for, like you mentioned, it's not every youth or everyone that is like maybe having a kind of mindset that might be difficult to work with. But generally, I think consistent interaction. So, for example, volunteering. If somebody has seen volunteering or doing things, I can easily say, okay, it looks like this guy looks like he has elements of seriousness in him, you know. And so I think one of the ways, instead of just messaging or just trying to reach somebody via WhatsApp, I just receive a random WhatsApp from someone, be doing things or let me just tell me what kind of things you do. And then I'll be so excited to say, okay, this is an example of the kind of youth that it will be viable to spend time to work with and grow. So I think a lot of it has to do with the communication, what you are projecting, both the verbal and non-verbal.
Yeah.
What I can see from your profile, what I can see from the way you even compose your message. I receive messages and somebody send me SLM, salam as SLM, and so immediately I see an SLM. I'm like, okay, no problem. I'll wait for the wa alaikum salam. I will typically write a full wa alaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh and wait for the kind of thing. Maybe the next one will be a voice note. Assalamu alaikum. So in all honesty, that's all the information I can use to evaluate that is this sustainable for me to continue this discussion. But if somebody sends me a PDF of what, like there's actually someone that I'm working with, he sends me a PDF of like the little NGO he's doing and the little project he's doing. I'm like, it's me chasing him. It's me chasing him because he sends me something like, I can see the seed of something that needs to be nurtured. So I think how we communicate, what you are doing and how you communicate it makes it easier to
I agree with you because yes, I agree with you. Who we look up to are figures that have considerable amount of figures with considerable amount of influence on you. But nowadays, it's the society has cast a shadow on materialism and spirituality that you have to be in the limelight for people to actually idolize you, because the society is breeded in a way that the only light worth seeking is the limelight. So before somebody idolizes somebody or try to say I'm looking up to that person, the person has to be popular. So it's always the notion that it has to be somebody popular or I think it's just structured around materialism. You have to be successful, you have to be a big movie star or philanthropist or scholar or somebody big, because we can't find simple inspiration and guides and structures, role models in our family and teachers, people that actually nurture us from home. Even our nannies, they're actually good people. So my main concern is how do we approach this feeling of only the successful can be idolized or seen as a role model or tool for or being a tool worthy of emulation in society.
You see, I think we should be careful with that in the sense that you can only aspire to be what you see. So if our nanny, in physical world, before now, there is a lot more interaction. You're at home a lot more. Even when you're at home, you are talking a lot more. But these days, you could be at home and you're on your phone. Your children are on their phone. Everybody is in the parlor eating and is actually interacting with somebody else on the phone. So your neighbors, you are not interacting physically so much with the neighbors. So how do you know how good your neighbor is if you are not really interacting? So the chance to know such a person is if that person also comes online and comes with a profile that I can interact with. So to be honest, in the time we are, that's actually my concern. Things are changing. It's not easy to bring templates, values, and processes from the past and say it needs to work. It must work now. The past is fading in some ways. We must take control of the future, and the future is digital. So, in a way, as many people as possible needs to get their profile online in a way that an average youth can go to their profile. So then the other issue is popular or not. That's not a different thing. I would advise youth to not look at just number of likes, but the quality of the posts, the content of what the person is posting, because like personally, one of the things I say about social media and general this thing is, it's not, I don't expect people to go to the internet to snap, see me kind of thing. I mean, pointless, see you, so that what? So it's about how we go to the social media to post value. So fine, if you're in the picture of a place, fine, but not you as a see me here. Of what value is that? So if we understand that mindset, you'll be able to go to, if you are looking at the profile of somebody, you see somebody, the kind of messaging, the kind of things he's writing, it will enable you to know whether he has a lot of followers or not. The things he stands for. You know that this person has a controlled view of things is balanced. It's neither too much to this side or not too much to that side. And then such a person, if you buzz the person, DM the person, there's a good chance that the person goes through your profile, he sees the kind of person you are to, and there's a good chance that there will be some form of
I remember the story of Moses and Jethro, Prophet Musa and Prophet Shu'aib alayhim salam. He was his father-in-law. So when Prophet Musa now settled with his people, and he was actually the most knowledgeable of them, apparently, and he was the one judging between people, teaching them, the scripture and all that. And that takes a lot of time, a lot of his energy. Every day he's doing the same thing. Now, Prophet Shu'aib said he should choose finest of people amongst them and then teach them how to judge, how to do these things, so that they'll have factions, and then he'll be able to be doing other things. So now somebody said, this is just a typical example of having a good mentor. Now his father-in-law is his mentor. So the thing doesn't have only a scope of, okay, it is only on maybe a business that you like to do or school or something like that. It is as far as knowing the type of family you're going to be married into, type of in-laws you're going to have. So, but nowadays, people don't look at these things. They just jump into things and they'll be like, okay, I must do this.
Yeah. Very true. A lot is happening now, and the kind of network we build, the kind of people we surround ourselves with is very, very important now. Like sometimes I go through my Facebook page or any of my feeds, I just watch anybody that is negative about the country, about a negative mindset. I just unfriend immediately.
Or somebody that's trying to
if
fear
or this thing, because my mindset is very important. And the internet has everybody have access to the internet.
Yeah.
Everybody all sorts of people have access to the internet. So if you don't filter, you can get confused. You can get stretched in all directions.
And then anything you put on social media is like it stays there.
It stays there.
It can come back to bite you in the ass. Yes.
It goes into this person's feed. So we really need to be careful with what we post. And then the other thing, I think, when you were making, when in the course of the discussion, the issue of understanding that social media, there's an algorithm behind it. Okay, there's an algorithm controlled by Facebook that determines what pops up and how often it pops up.
Yes.
So they generally, Facebook and Twitter, Instagram, they are entertainment first platform because they've seen that
it sells.
It sells their own ads and everything. So you should know that you should not focus solely, because somebody is tuning this thing to be an entertainment, not an educational platform. So if you spend so much time on Instagram, TikTok, you'll be strolling through entertainment stuff. You can't find a mentor on such a platform. You can't find a serious mentor. Even if, the interesting thing with the reels now, the reels on Instagram, TikTok itself is, you don't even need to follow somebody for your feed to be popular.
Yes.
And it's not only a function of who you follow. They will still pop up, you want to bam on your feed, whether you follow somebody that did it or
I
not.
thought I was the only person that was tired of that
It
song.
will still come in. The next one will still come in. So you really need to take control of the information and the kind of things you allow into your system. So personally, I spend less time on Instagram because I think it's purely an Instagram.
I too do.
I spend a lot more time.
I'm not really a social media
person. I
person.
spend a lot more time on LinkedIn as a person.
LinkedIn,
Because
is a
likely
platform
to
that
meet
is
CEOs,
educative.
you are likely to meet business people, you are likely to meet somebody that is structured and like minds. So I think who you follow determines the kind of information that comes at you here and there.
Now, what the youth don't understand is mostly the things that we see on social media, or the mentors and the role models that we see. I think there are two things that we can actually deduct from whatever they're doing. First is the person's persona. It is what they display there that we see, or maybe the social status or the role they're playing. Another thing is the talent that they're showing. But we do not look beyond that to know that maybe if this person is successful now, they have gone through stages and challenges for them to go to that particular point that you're seeing them at. So somebody will say, I would like to be like this person, but they're not willing to take the challenges. They're not willing to go through that same thing. So if you see somebody, it's not about the bling bling that you see physically.
Honestly.
You must also be part of the challenges. You must, but nowadays they will be like, okay, I have encountered this challenge, so I'm giving up. So they cannot be stable about being a particular thing in their life or being someone they're supposed to be. So how can we solve it?
You see, that's a very, very real situation. That you see somebody, you don't know a lot of the stuffs that goes on behind it. And, you know, personally, one of the lessons or what I can say about that is that we should try to make the internet an extension of your real life.
Yeah.
Now, if the internet, if you're an engineer, if you're a journalist, if you're this or that, and the internet is an extension of your real life, if you meet somebody there, you'll be able to connect with the person even in real life.
Yeah.
Like like in the course of that hour and meeting people, there are a number of people like the Amir of MPD, for example, the National Amir of MPD, Alhaji Farouk Bello. One of the things I learned from him and sticks with me for the last like 10, 12 years that I've known him is how he listens. If it's just for what I read, what I see on Facebook or digitally, I might not know. But by interacting with him, he's a person that when you are talking to him, I see he's actively listening. He's not listening to respond. He listens, he understands what you're saying, and he's trying to, you know, internalize and use. So I tried to learn how to listen from him. But that was when I met with him because I tried to link what we're doing for them digitally plus meeting him privately. That gave me opportunity to know him better.
Yeah.
So I think we should link the digital life, whoever we want to know or not, try to see if it's somebody you can connect with physically. You might be able to know better and benefit more from such a person.
Okay. It's still the show, Deen and Dunya, and the topic is, who do we look up to? We'll now take a short break and we'll be back. Stay tuned.